I know I was talking about having a very sophisticated cauldron. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And since it's the start of October, I think it's only socially acceptable now to be creating Halloween content. I feel like I'm allowed to. So this month is all about Halloween. It's all going to be Halloween related content. I hope you like Halloween. If not, well, you're not going to like this month. And I was trying to think of Halloween craft ideas that I could do that, I don't know, would be like a little bit different or something that I possibly haven't seen before. So today I thought I'd make some little cauldron decorations. I haven't really worked it out this far ahead, but I'm assuming they're going to be like little tea light holders. Or, if they're not going to be tea light holders, they're just going to be normal little decorations. But I still think they're going to look really nice. So let's get our cauldron on. I'm like the bubbly cauldron. That's what I'm trying to emulate. So I bought this little pack of ceramic cauldrons off Amazon, which are just plain ready to decorate yourself. And I opened them up, and unfortunately, one of them had broken. And of course they had broken because these cauldrons are from Baker Ross. And if we know from past experiences with Baker Ross, their products are shite. But I wasn't going to return it and for them to send us another pack of broken cauldrons, which I know would happen. I hands down know it would happen. At least only one of them was broken. And I thought, instead of returning it, I would try and make it work and incorporate a cracked cauldron into one of my designs. I wasn't planning on doing this, but Baker Ross has forced me to, through their shitty products. So to start with, I glued this cauldron back together with some super glue and let that dry. And honestly, it looks as good as new. It looks perfect. I then moved on and painted the entire thing in a black acrylic paint and just waited for that to dry. And then rather than pretending that these cracks hadn't happened and trying to hide them and all of that kind of stuff, I thought I would use some gold, like Pebbio or PBO or whatever it's called, the like liner paint. I thought I would use some of that. I've used it before and it's an alright paint. And I just went around the little cauldron and highlighted the cracks that were already there, but then also added some more lines and some more decoration to resemble even more cracks. And I've got it here and I think it looks really cute. I think it's adorable. I don't think they look like cracks necessarily. I can't actually even tell where the original crack was. But there it is. I think that looks quite nice actually. I think it looks really interesting. It definitely doesn't look like cracks, and to me it looks more like kind of gold vines or some sort of like branches or something. But I still think it's really interesting. I definitely could have been a little bit neater with the lines, but I still kind of like it. And what I'll do once I've got all three of these little cauldrons decorated, I'll pop some tea lights in them and we'll see if they're actually going to work as tea light holders or whether they're better as just like a little decoration on or whether they'll work just as a little decoration on their own. I can't talk today. I'm getting so tongue-tied. I don't know why. I think it's because I haven't recorded in, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks, so I feel like a newbie. I don't know how to record a video anymore. I'm just like blah, blah, blah. But yes, we'll come back to this, but I think it looks good as it is. So moving on to the next cauldron idea, and for this one I decided I would paint it in a white acrylic paint, which isn't really a Halloween colour. I don't feel like you see a lot of white Halloween decorations. Well, I suppose you've got like ghosts and skeletons and stuff, don't you? Yeah, I suppose white is a Halloween colour. Any colour's a Halloween colour if you make it a Halloween colour, to be fair. But yeah, so I just went for a white acrylic paint on this one and then set it to one side to let it dry. Next up I got some PVA glue, and I only wanted a very small amount of PVA glue and mixed a lot of red acrylic paint into it just to give it more of like a fluid, plasticky kind of texture. And once I was happy with the consistency of the paint, I decided to dribble the paint mixture down the sides of the cauldron to obviously resemble blood. And once I was happy with that, I just put it to one side to let it dry. And I've got it here, and honestly, this one is my favourite. I haven't made the final one yet, but this one definitely is my favourite. I absolutely love it. I just think the blood drips and the effect of it and everything works so well. This, even if these don't work as tea light holders, I think these look really cool as decorations, just kind of on their own. I would happily have these on like my mantelpiece or on my table or anything like that. To be fair, I would have these decorated around my house year round. I don't think they just have to be for Halloween. I love that. I think it's a great idea. Very simple, but very effective. Okay, for the final ceramic cauldron, I thought I would paint this one in a yellow ochre colour because I absolutely love the colour yellow ochre, and I didn't want to go for a typical bright orange, tacky Halloween colour. I thought this would be a lot more autumnal and a lot more sophisticated. And I've got it here, and I haven't actually done anything with it yet. And my idea for this one, I know I was talking about having a very sophisticated cauldron, but I thought it would be quite cool to have a a yellow ochre cauldron covered in googly eyes. I think that'll be really fun. Yes, it'll be a little bit tacky and it'll take away from the sophistication of it all, but you just need it, don't you? I've also just realised I faked tanned last night. I don't know whether you can see that. Look at the state of my hands. Maybe I left it on a bit too long. It doesn't help that I'm using orange lights and a pink light either, so my tan looks even worse. So if I look really orange today, just keep it to yourself. I already know.
You'll barely notice it. Oh. And that's what Photoshop's for.
I'm gonna exfoliate tomorrow. It'll wear off and it'll calm itself down a bit. Anyway, let's get some googly eyes stuck on this. One thing I hate about these googly eyes is getting the backing off them. It's almost impossible because I don't have any fingernails, so I have to use a scalpel. Oh, I think this is a good idea. I think it'll look really good once it's done. I'm just wondering, do I want to cover the entire thing in googly eyes? I don't think I'll cover the entire thing because if I do, there was no point of painting it a yellow ochre colour because you're not going to see any of the colour. I think I'll add lots on, but I'm not going to cover like the entire thing so it's all googly eyes. And also yesterday, I don't know why, but for some reason, I don't know whether anyone else feels this, like not necessarily unmotivated, but just like really tired and getting distracted from things very easily. I feel like I go through phases basically. And anyway, yesterday, I don't know what came over us, but I got so much done. I just went on this like little mission of getting loads and loads of shit done and just catching up on loads and loads of stuff. Like craft wise, I have never made so many little crafty things in a day in my life. I was on like a proper crafting mission. Mrs. Doubtfire! And I went and got my shopping in. And I exercised. I did loads. I got absolutely loads done. I was so productive. And it just makes a change because the past few days or even the past few weeks, well, I don't know what's wrong with us.
Everything.
I just haven't had the motivation to get it done. I was poorly a couple of weeks ago though, and I think when you're poorly it just takes it out of you, doesn't it? And you just kind of want to lie around and feel sorry for yourself. I have to feel sorry for myself because no one else feels sorry for us. I tell someone I'm poorly and they're just like, alright, whatever. Like one thing I've started to realise like in my life and stuff is I feel like I'm on the bottom of the pile when it comes to everyone else, if that makes any sense. I don't know whether anyone else feels like that, but I feel like everyone else's kind of needs and feelings and thoughts and stuff go ahead of mine, and I don't know why. I feel like even knowing I'm there for people when they need us and I go out my way for people when no one else will, I'm still somehow on the bottom of the pack when it comes to things that I need and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel like a two-way street a lot of the time. So I feel like being a little bit more selfish and just telling people, you know what, nah, off. Because I think if you do things for people, yes, you don't expect things in return, but little things that require little to no effort, literally like no effort at all, the opposite of effort actually, and it doesn't kind of happen for you, or they don't do it, or they just don't listen to you. That's when it starts to like really piss you off. I can't really get into specifics. That's the annoying part about doing stuff like this. I can't really get into specifics, but I would like to get into specifics, if you know what I mean. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about, because otherwise it won't make any sense, without obviously telling you who I'm talking about or names or anything. So there's a person who I feel like only wants to kind of spend time with us when they've got nothing else to do, when they're like bored. And it's not because they want to see me or spend time with us or that kind of thing. It's because they're literally bored and they've got no other person. So I'm the kind of last thought. And it always happens, they end up being in a relationship, and throughout the relationship I don't hear from them at all for months and months and months. And then when the relationship ends, I hear from them, and then it's like, oh, do you want to do this or blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, I know why all of a sudden you've texted us or messaged us wanting me to do something, because your relationship's broke up again. And anyway, this person texted us the other day saying, oh, like, do you want to come round and do you want to do something, blah blah blah. And I was like, you know what, I'm busy. No, normally I would drop my stuff and I would go and see this person, even though I'm busy and I've got stuff to do. But this time I was like, nah, I was like, I'm busy, I've got no time, sorry. Because I'm not doing it. And the worst thing about it is they'll like kind of blackmail you and make you feel guilty about not seeing them when for months on end they haven't been asked with you, if you know what I mean. So that's what's pissing us off at the minute. But on the brighter side of life, I found one of the best programs ever. If you're into like proper trashy, just like easy to watch TV shows, and it's all on YouTube by the way, I would highly recommend watching a program called Tabitha Takes Over.
Stop working brushes down.
And it's this Australian lady, very, very stern, and she basically takes over businesses, mainly hairdressing salons and stuff, but she does like loads of other businesses, like B&Bs and stuff, and basically tells them how crap they are, and she goes in and fixes stuff. I think like kind of early 2000s style television. That's what it feels like. And anyway, I came across it and I've literally been binge watching it on YouTube. It is so good. And I absolutely love this lady called Tabitha. She's just like so stern and so harsh, to the point where I wanted to get my own business and run it into the ground just so I can call Tabitha and say, come and help us. So if you're looking for something to watch, I would highly recommend Tabitha Takes Over. It's really, really good. Okay, I think I'm done with that. And I decided to use like a mixture of smaller and bigger googly eyes just for like shits and giggles, really. But I think it looks really cool. Like, how fun is that? It's not kind of too much. It's a little bit subtle, but definitely Halloween-y. And I really like it. I think it's really fun. I could have easily got carried away and added way more onto this, but I stopped myself, and I'm glad I did. So I've got my little collection of cauldrons here, and I thought I would try and add some tea lights, but I don't want to add flammable tea lights. I don't know why, I just thought, like, fire hazard, woo. So I thought I would use some electric ones, just battery-powered ones. And we'll pop some of these and see what they're like. Plus, I have absolutely loads of these for some reason. Oh, I think this will look quite good, actually. Also, just to mention, like my little rant earlier on about people not caring and me being kind of the last on people's list, it wasn't just about that. There's other things that have happened recently that have really irritated us, but I can't go into them specifics, just in case people thought, oh, I'm whinging about like one thing. It's multiple things. Anyway, I'll stop talking.
Thank God.
But we'll take these down in the bathroom and see what they look like in the dark. Okay, I think they look quite cool. They definitely work as little tea light holders. Obviously, when they're in the pitch black, you can't actually see any of the detail or what they are, but it's good to know that they work in the dark. There's like little tea lights and a little light source, and then they look really pretty during obviously the daytime. You can kind of see some of the detail there. I think that's a really good idea. I'm quite pleased with myself. I feel like I've salvaged a lot today. It started off with obviously broken cauldrons and knackered craft things from Baker Ross, but I feel like I've turned, what is it, shit into gold or something, or polished a turd? That's what I feel like I've done today. I feel like I've polished turds. So that just about does it for today's video. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I did also want to say a big thank you to everyone, because this week, at the time of recording, I've hit 10,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So I did want to say a very, very big thank you to everyone who subscribes and who follows us and watches the videos and everything like that. I'm very appreciative, so thank you very much. If you haven't already, then subscribe to the channel. I'm only 990,000 away from a million. So that would be fun. A million's literally just over the road from 10,000. That's the goalpost, 10,000, and then the next step's a million. But anyway, I'll see you next week for another Halloween-y video. Considering this got off to a rough start with obviously them smashing and stuff, I think I've done quite a good job today. I'm really pleased with them. I would definitely have these around my house as decorations all year long. I don't understand why Halloween decor is just so much better than any other decor.